Obviously, it's very early still in these investigations, but what are we learning here as the investigators are looking into the information they have?
Yeah, well, a lot of the information we got about the crash actually came quickly, not the least of which was that there was a crash, and you could even see from the debris path and everything that the plane hit the seawall just as it was coming in for a landing, skidded across the runway, and that from there the mayhem began. But many of the facts in Flight 421, what we found out about the plane and what we found out about the flight sort of unfolded from there. And the information we have about that gives us some clues as to the kinds of things the investigators are looking at. And we're going to know a lot more in the next coming hour or so. It's a press conference planned by the emergency responders at the top of the next hour. We're going to find out a lot more about what happened when they responded, what they've learned about their own response. Indeed, the sort of gory detail that one of the people killed in the plane crash may have actually been run over by one of the emergency vehicles responding to the smoldering ruins of that plane.
And Cory, what do we know about the impact of the crash so far?
Well, throughout the business community, it's been interesting because, you know, this being an era of social media, there were tweets and pictures going out right away from a Samsung executive who was on the plane. There was a Facebook message from Sheryl Sandberg, who had booked a flight, who was the chief operating officer of Facebook, I should mention, who had booked a flight on the plane with her family, changed the flight at the last minute, and she had sent out some notes saying she was all fine, and ended up responding to a lot of questions about that over the course of the day. So that sort of changed the way I think the people experienced this terrifying event. And frankly, it's just an amazing thing. I actually made my way out into the terminal number 2 there, way out by the end of the Virgin Gate, Gate 54, as close as you can get in the airport to the actual wreckage of that plane. And you can see the thing sitting there surrounded by emergency vehicles still. You can see the investigation still going on as the ruins of this plane sit there between those two runways. One of those runways still closed, of course, and a frightening reminder of what happened here on Saturday.
And Cory, of course, as the investigators are looking into what happened here, they're focusing on the two men who were piloting the plane, two South Korean men who were piloting the plane. It seems as though, as details emerge here, that their experience levels were quite different.
Well, indeed. So there are typically on a flight like this, there are typically 4 pilots, and they will swap over the course of the long flight. Understand they did probably about an hour and a half from Shanghai to Seoul, and then took on more passengers in Seoul, and then it was 10 hours and 20 minutes until they got to San Francisco. So that somewhere along the lines there was a pilot swap. The 2 pilots that were flying, one had a lot of experience, well, both had a lot of experience. One had a lot of experience also flying this 777 plane from Boeing. The other one had almost no experience on the 777, just 42 hours, including this flight. And it sounds like he was actually the guy who was bringing this plane in for a landing. Now, the conditions, it was what's looking like today to be shaping up to a very beautiful sunny day, low wind conditions. The tower actually instructed pilots that they could use their visual guidance to actually look at where they were flying into to land this plane and did not have to rely only on instruments. Could that have been a contributing factor? Yes. Was it? We have no idea yet. We may know more in the next couple of hours.